Sending my deepest condolences to the relatives of Rob Reiner. I loved his works. He will be greatly missed. Rob Reiner was more than a filmmaker. He was a voice, a feeling, a presence in our lives, even if we never met him in person. We met him through stories. We met him through laughter. We met him through tears. We met him in dark theaters and on living room couches. We met him every time the opening credits rolled and his name appeared on the screen. To his family, I want to say this as clearly as possible. Thank you for sharing him with the world. Thank you for all the hours you didn't get with him so that we could spend those hours watching his stories. We talk about movies as entertainment, but Rob Reiner's work was more than entertainment. It was memory, it was culture, it was connection. Think about how many friendships began with one of his movies in the background. Think about how many people fell in love while watching a scene he directed. Think about how many families found something to bond over because of his work. His films weren't just films, they were milestones. They were chapters in our lives. They marked first dates, lazy Sundays, sleepovers, family nights, heartbreaks, recoveries. When we say, I loved his works, what we're really saying is, I loved the way he made me feel. I loved the way he gave shape to moments in my life that I'll never forget. To his relatives, you knew him as Rob, as dad, as husband, as brother, as grandpa, as uncle, as friend. We knew him as a creator. You knew him as a human being. We saw the results. You saw the process. You saw the early mornings and late nights. You heard the doubts, the ideas, the dreams, the frustrations. You saw the man behind the camera, behind the credits, behind the interviews and the accolades. Our grief is real, but yours is deeper. Our loss is heavy, but yours is personal. So this is for you. From one person who loved his work to the people who loved him as a person. I hope you know that he didn't just pass through this world. He shaped it. He changed it. He left fingerprints on hearts he never met. Somewhere right now, someone is watching one of his movies. They're laughing, they're crying. They're feeling less alone, and that is part of his legacy. Grief is strange. It's quiet in some moments and unbearably loud in others. It hits you in the middle of the day, or in the middle of a sentence, or in the middle of a memory you didn't plan to have. Maybe you'll be flipping through channels and suddenly his name appears. Maybe you'll hear a line from one of his films and feel your chest tighten. Maybe you'll meet someone who doesn't realize who they're talking to and they'll casually say, "Oh, I love that movie," and they'll have no idea what that means to you. In those moments, I hope you remember this. You are not alone. Behind every one of his works is an invisible crowd of people whose lives were quietly changed by what he created. People who found comfort, people who found laughter when they really needed it, people who found a sense of home in a story he put on screen. When we say, he'll be greatly missed, we're not using a cliche. We mean it. He'll be missed in the way people quote his lines without even thinking. He'll be missed in the way other directors, writers, and actors carry pieces of his influence into their own work. He'll be missed in the way certain scenes will always feel like coming home to something familiar and safe. He'll be missed in the silence when the credits end, and we sit there for a second longer because we're not quite ready to return to real life. To his family, I hope you feel proud. Proud that his name means something to millions of strangers. Proud that his art outlived him. Proud that his stories will continue to speak, even now that he is gone. It doesn't make the pain disappear. It doesn't erase the empty chair at the table. It doesn't answer the late-night instinct to pick up the phone and call him. But maybe it adds a layer of warmth to the sadness. A sense that his life rippled far beyond what any of us can truly understand. Some people leave behind money. Some leave behind buildings. Some leave behind their name on a plaque. Rob Reiner left behind moments. Moments of joy. Moments of truth. Moments of recognition where we saw ourselves in his characters. Moments where we said, that's exactly how it feels. Even if we'd never found the words ourselves. He turned feelings into stories and stories into memories we share. That's why this hurts. That's why the world feels a little smaller today. But I also want to say this. Every time someone presses play on one of his movies, a part of him is still here. Every time a new generation discovers his work and says, wait, this is amazing, he lives on again in their reactions, their laughter, their tears. To his relatives, I wish you comfort. Not the kind of comfort that pretends everything is okay. The honest kind. The kind that says, yes, this hurts. Yes, this is unfair. Yes, this is hard. But look at what he left you. Look at the love. Look at the memories. Look at the impact. You carry his stories that no one else will ever know. The small ones, the quiet ones, the inside jokes at the dinner table, the way he walked into a room, the sound of his laugh when the cameras were off, Those are yours. No critic can rate them. No audience can review them. They belong only to you. And I hope, in time, those private memories will hurt less and warm you more. To Rob Reiner, thank you. Thank you for the worlds you built. Thank you for the characters we still quote. Thank you for the scenes we replay in our minds long after the credits roll. Thank you for being brave enough to make things that mattered. You may have left this world, but you did not leave it the way you found it. You left it richer, fuller, truer. To his family, once more, my heartfelt condolences. May you find strength in one another. May you find comfort in your memories. May you feel the love of countless strangers who stand with you in spirit, because we, too, feel this loss. He gave us stories, and through those stories, a piece of him will always remain. Rob Reiner will be greatly missed, but he will also be forever remembered.